What's going on, champions? Welcome back to the Wild Wild Metaverse show. So we're back again with another hot topic. Today we're talking about the three elements, the three features that you have to pay attention to if you're buying land in the Metaverse. And I'm right here with no other person but my co-host Abda. What's going on, man?
What's going on, Izu? How you doing, man?
You know, better than I deserve.
Why you always say that, man? You deserve to be doing good, man. You deserve it. You work hard, you got it, man.
I got you. This is just something I learned from, I think I heard a few people say it. I think Dave Ramsey is the one that started saying that, and that just tickles me every time I say it.
Yeah, no, that's cool, man. It's your thing, man. Do your thing.
But yeah, how about yourself? How you doing?
Doing good, man. Right now, Bitcoin's going crazy. Ethereum's going crazy. We're all going crazy, you know. There's a 50% sale. I mean, it's really tempting, really tempting.
Are you buying the dip?
Let it dip a little bit more. I think it has a little bit more to go. So for now, I'm just watching that waterfall. I'm watching it.
I haven't looked in the last 6 hours. What's the price right now?
Right now, I mean, Bitcoin's looking like, what is it, 30,000? And Ethereum is about 2,400. I think it probably has another 20% or 15% to go. But don't take my word for it. I'm just predicting here.
Got you. Well, I guess we're gonna keep watching this then. But I guess the topic today is about the Metaverse. How excited are you, man?
About this topic, man.
There you go. Cool. So, I mean, right now people are talking about the land grab in the Metaverse. And I'm like, okay, when you're purchasing these lands, or when you're thinking about purchasing these lands in the Metaverse, you really got to pay attention to some parameters, right? Because you don't want to end up, holding the bag, or you don't want to end up in a bad spot when it comes to buying the land. And a lot of people are not educating themselves on some of the strategies or things to watch out for before purchasing the land. And that's why we're talking about this today. So,
Yeah, I mean, in real life, right? I mean, when you talk about you want to invest in land and you want to resell it or do whatever, develop on top of it, you got to ask yourself some real questions, right? And how do you normally get that, right? How do you normally do that? I mean, you invest sometimes in land, right? In real life. Izu, I mean, when you invest in real life, what do you, just 2 or 3 things on your mind when you do that? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few things that you gotta look for when you invest in raw land, right? Or even, I shouldn't say existing land, but land with existing property. Basically, you gotta look for you gotta pay attention to the location, right? The location in real estate, they always say location.
That's right.
But beyond that too, you gotta look at the zoning of the land. And you got to look at other important things like easements, right? And you got to look at, what kind of neighborhood, which is also a function of the location. Then you got to tap into the area. What kind of insurance are you going to need? Are you going to have flood? Are you exposed to earthquakes? Are you exposed to, what natural disaster?
Tornadoes? Pick one, right?
Yeah, so you got to think about those, and then you got to think about things like mineral rights. You got to think about several things when it comes to the land. And then you got to think about wildlife preservation too, right? Is that, there's so many things you got to think about depending on where you're buying the land. But most importantly, the location. All of these encompasses location.
So check this out, listeners. You're not only getting Metaverse advice, you're also getting real life advice. This is 2 for 1 today. Because of that, you guys gotta hit like, and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, follow us.
Why not?
We got a lot more to talk about. So but what do you think, Izu? I mean, now what you just told me right now is about the real world. How does that transfer to the Metaverse? What do you think?
It all has some parallels, right? There's when you're buying land in the real life, like in the real world, right? The same thing, some of the same principles apply in the virtual world, the metaverse. However, there's a lot of stuff that you don't have to worry about when it comes to the metaverse and the real life. In the metaverse, for instance, you wouldn't have to worry about, natural disaster like flooding, right? That's not a concern. You wouldn't have to worry about things like hurricane and whatnot, right? That's not that's not happening in the metaverse, right? Fingers crossed. Right. But as far as we know right now, that's not a problem in the metaverse. So that's something that we don't have to worry about. But location is still very important, in my opinion, right? The number one thing is the right platform. So the platform that you buy on, you don't want to buy onto something that doesn't have any momentum or doesn't have any future. So you want to make sure you're buying on the credible platforms. You just don't want to throw your money on anything that has metaverse in it.
True.
So the right platform is very important. And then, we can dig into these in detail, but the right platform in the metaverse, we're talking about the right location on that platform. And then we're also talking about the right neighbors. So these are the three key elements.
Location and neighbor.
That's right.
Okay. They say love thy neighbor, but sometimes you can't love them. I've had some crazy neighbors over the years, man. I'm not going to lie to you. So, from personal experience, neighbors can make or break your value. For sure.
Yeah, that's a fact, right? When it comes to neighbor, you don't want to be next to a waste yard, right? In real life, and you don't want to be next to a crack house or something like that, right? So you want to be, be in the right location, for sure. The right grid location, the right intersection. You want to be next to the cool stuff, next to the stuff that will help your property appreciate. So that's very important in the metaverse too. When it comes down to the metaverse, though, it's all about the grid location. Because remember, the metaverse is on a grid. It's not like some cities are on a grid, but it's not like the cities where you have some winding roads and you have other, you have the, it's not that way, right? It's all on the grid. So you want to make sure you're targeting the right grid in the metaverse.
Now hold on. So just to be fair though, you never know if they will create roads and ways to move from one grid to the next.
You're right.
So we don't know. Like, we're talking about infrastructure. Even back when there was the Wild Wild West, California, when people first moved here, right? They all had their plots of land. They developed it. But at the end of the day, they didn't need to go anywhere else. They were self-sustaining. But in the metaverse, eventually you're gonna have to move and move from one place to the next. Go visit other people. How do you do that, right?
Even though just like in real life, right? You want to make sure you're buying, just like this picture New York, right? You have the major intersections in New York. That's when I talk about the grid. I'm talking about you want to be in those areas. Because everything is laid out on the grid. Now, you can go further out, you go to other spots, and if development comes to those areas, so be it. But in order to see appreciation, you want to be on the right grid. You want your property to be on the right intersection.
Correct.
So whether or not, we're going to see more infrastructure or more properties that will help you appreciate the big names moving to certain grades. That's not a question. It could possibly happen, and it will happen if you ask me. But the real thing is, just picturing the bigger cities, the downtowns. So that's how I see the grids. The downtowns and those kind of locations. That's really what I'm thinking about.
I like that. That's a good point. Yeah. The other thing also, right, is when it comes to the neighbors, there is some plots of land out there right now that have no neighbors, right?
True.
By getting into something like that, right? What do you think the risk is if you go to an area that's not developed? What do you think the risk is? I'm not sure.
The risk is you could lose your money, right? That's the main thing, right? You could lose your money and you just don't get an appreciation, right? Or you could have the bad neighbors move in next door. Right, and that's the risk. Yeah. Right. Whatever house. That's not the right house, right? So you can have that move next to you, right? So that's the problem, right?
Right.
Or that's the downside. But when it comes to the bright side, right? The thing is, if you purchase further out, it's cheaper,
Right.
and there's nothing next to you.
Right.
Now you get the early movers advantage too when you have someone big or some giant company or institution move next to you, or some celebrity in real life purchase something next to you. Now instantly I shouldn't say instantly, but almost likely that your property value will see a huge spike just off of that. And that's the main reason why people go out further out in real life and purchase land, because they really want to take advantage of the early development stages. And as construction activities and as stuff starts to move there, the value of the land starts to go up. So that's the bright side.
So again, bringing it back to real life, right? If you talk about people buying land in the desert, or buying land in the mountains, right? Not mountains, but somewhere where there's no human being, no sign of life. That land, it could be worth $1 an acre for all I care, right? But the people that invest in it, they better have some special reason. That's the thing, right? Is the use, because if you go buy land with the intent of reselling it, you better be strategic, and you probably don't want to put your eggs in the basket of maybe Leonardo DiCaprio or Brad Pitt's gonna move in next to you.
Speculation. That's really what you're going. Yeah.
Exactly. But if you buy land in the middle of nowhere and say, you know what, I'm gonna do an experience here. Maybe you do like a concert, right? You throw concerts in that land. Now that land is a special purpose that people will come, and now you don't make land by reselling it, you make land by actually leasing it, or building on top of it and having people come to your land. So it depends if you want to develop or sell. What do you think? Does that make sense, or am I just kind of
No, I mean, I think I get your point. If you want to, it's all about the usage or the utility of the land.
Right.
And I'm all about the highest and best use, right? Because it's your money at play. Right. And again, we're not giving you guys investment advice, right? Well, basically, this is all for educational and informational purposes, and you can do with it as you choose, and do your own research. But the truth here is, there's so many ways you can use land in real life, and I believe the same thing applies. We talked about how you can make money in the metaverse. You could own the land, you can rent it out, you could flip the land, you could develop the land and have other people come enjoy or come use the land for several purposes. So again, it's all dependent on what you are more comfortable with, but everything you said is pretty spot on. But it all boils down to people understanding the elements and what to watch out for when purchasing land in the metaverse. It's not just as simple as, hey, I've got, however many sands. I've got 10 sands, however many $1,000. I'm just going to dump it in here. Yeah. No, you got to do your research. You got to understand what the driving factors are for a good land purchase in the metaverse. It could be Sandbox, it could be decentraland, it could be Roblox, whatever, right? Whatever platform you're on, the platform matters. That's the key thing. The location again kind of ties the whole thing together on that platform, and then in that metaverse. And then we're talking about the neighbors, which is also a function of the location. But I think these are the main keys.
By the way, did you hear about the there's going to be real estate brokers and real estate agents in the metaverse moving forward, right?
Absolutely.
So you're not going to have to do this on your own. I mean, eventually you're going to have people actually giving you these services. I think that's an amazing service, by the way.
Just like in real life.
Right. That's something to think about. Now, do you think we can maybe go into the map and kind of scope it out to see, what are some good areas? Maybe just if I was to invest, or you were to invest, maybe, or something.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if I were to invest right now, honestly, I'm gonna try to stay next to the big guys, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna try to stay next to and again, you gotta understand, what are you trying to do in the metaverse. That's the key thing. What's the use of the land, right?
Right.
So, but if you just want to buy and hold and hope that it appreciates and you can sell someday,
Right.
you know, I think the play for me would be that, and that would
Yeah.
be staying next to, you know, the movers and shakers and the people with the action right now.
Yeah. I mean, it does make sense, right? It makes sense. Everything you said makes sense. We need to be careful on who we sit next to, who we live next to in real life and in the metaverse. Same concepts. Also, which platform you want to go with depends on what's your interests. What are you really looking for? Are you looking for more gaming? Are you looking for more concerts? What are you looking for, and what sort of companies, what sort of NFTs are you associated with? And then obviously it's all about the use of that land, right? You want to make sure, depending on what you want to do with the land, you need to select the right property. So all that, I completely agree with you, and I hope our listeners just take all these into consideration, right? Because it is the key to actually having appreciation or not.
That's right. I mean, we just bring you guys the info that y'all can make use to make the best decisions. But like we said, we're just, you know, two normal guys sharing our thoughts and experiences on this stuff. But we're not necessarily endorsing one way or the other. Just say, you guys do your research.
Right.
But yeah.
Right. Well said. Well said, man.
It's been real. It's been nice hanging out with you all, and thank you all for hanging out with us. And the next show, you guys got to stay tuned and watch out for that one, because we're going to have something really exciting for you all. And if you have not yet subscribed, hit that subscribe button now, and be sure to give this video a thumbs up.
Hit it.
Stay safe. Keep winning.
Peace.